Welcome back to the channel. The Hall of Fame game is now came and went, and pretty much went the way we all expected. The starters sat, the backups had significant playing time, and a few rookies were able to make an impression. While there were bright spots, I did have areas of concern, some of which we'll talk about in today's video. In case you missed it, and wanted to hear my full thoughts on the Hall of Fame game, I was joined by Will Spencer, Fantasy's finest, to recap the game, which you can see by checking out the link above. Now, much like last week, I'm going to dive into the game against Arizona and discuss what I'll be looking forward to most and what I expect to see happen. Also, if you like this video, make sure to leave a like. And if you love this video, hit that sub button. But with that said, let's get to it. So, I'm on record as saying the quarterbacks last week were pretty awful. Gilbert is the best of the group, but it doesn't instill much confidence. He had his moments in the game, but Mr. Critical read to Noah Brown in the red zone that should have been a touchdown. And Ben DiNucci at this point is not competing for the number 2 job, which is not surprising. What is surprising, however, was how bad Cooper Rush was with his accuracy. For a veteran quarterback of now 5 years, it wasn't a good look. So going into Friday, I think it's the same order of Gilbert, Rush, and then DiNucci. I think in this game, Cooper Rush will play the longest because Dallas is still trying to contemplate on keeping a third quarterback on the roster and trying to evaluate how much better they feel about Cooper Rush versus Ben DiNucci. So with that in mind, I'd say Cooper Rush will play for about 2.5 quarters. As for running back, I think Rico Dowdle made such an impression that I wouldn't play him that much. However, the reason why he will is the injury to Sewell, who I thought was a triple threat at fullback, being able to run, catch, and block. Again, that opens the door for Jaquan Hardy and Brendan Knox to have plenty of chances. Same goes for Nick Ralston to step in at fullback, who I think won't be used so diversely. At tight ends, we're going to see a repeat of last week. Limited action, if any, for Dalton Schultz or Blake Jarwin, and Jeremy Sprinkle along with Sean McKeon to play most of the game. I do think tight end 3 is a camp battle that's under the radar, Sean McKeon taking the early lead over Jeremy Sprinkle. I'd imagine that both play well into the third quarter. Cedric Wilson and Noah Brown again should be your starting wide receivers, along with Malik Turner now forcing his way into the conversation as the 4th and 5th wide receiver. If anything, I want to see better from the quarterbacks to get more chances for backup receivers, Simi Fehoko, Aaron Parker, and Brandon Smith. Finally, offensive line. There's got to be a lot better from them, namely Brandon Knight. As bad as I thought the backup quarterbacks were, the reserve linemen weren't much help. Swing tackle is still up for grabs, and there's still time for Terrence Steele and Brandon Knight to make a case for it. Even though fans may not like it, they're going to play a whole lot in Arizona. As for the inside, we have to watch Connor Williams and where he lines up. The Cowboys seem intent on playing the 5 best linemen they have, which means pay close attention to who plays center and guard between Connor Williams, Connor McGovern, and Tyler Biadasz. As for playing time amongst them, I really can't call it because these spots are far from settled. For in-game standouts, I'm going to predict Sean McKeon to have a nice day, and Ben DiNucci to prove something to everybody. For numbers, I'll say Dallas will put up 250 yards of offense and 2 offensive touchdowns. The defensive line for me is kind of unpredictable, mostly because of different fronts shown by Dan Quinn last week. We saw some 3-4, we saw 2 down linemen and 2 stand-up outside linebackers. As for your starters, I'm pretty confident that's going to be Dorrance Armstrong and Terrell Basham on the edge. And then late in the game, a mixture of Rondell Carter and Azur Kamara. The inside spots I thought showed out last week, especially the newcomers, Brent Urban, Quentin Bohanna, and Osa Odighizuwa. As far as playing time along the inside, I can't call it because the fronts will dictate a lot of that. But I think we'll see plenty of snaps for the rookies Osa and Bohanna. If there's one spot on defense I'd say most people feel good about, I'd say it's linebacker, largely due in part by the debut of Michael Parsons. As far as playing time, it shouldn't be much different. Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch play a series or 2, with the bulk of linebacker snaps most likely going to Luke Gifford and Anthony Hines. On the other hand, I still want to see more from Keanu Neal and Jabril Cox. I think both had okay games last week, but neither has a defined role in the defense, and so for that reason, I'll be watching them both closely. For corners right off the bat, I'm getting the growing sense that Kelvin Joseph, Nashawn Wright, and Morris Kennedy have separated themselves from veterans Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis on the depth chart, and for that reason I think Morris Kennedy gets the veteran night off. So once again, your starters are going to be Nashawn Wright and Kelvin Joseph, and I guess with Lewis as a starter in the slot. However, I think Wright plays much less than last week, and your corners for most of the game will be Reggie Robinson, Deontay Burton, Kyron Brown, with some Anthony Brown at the boundary corner early in the game. At safety, there shouldn't be much of a change. Donovan Wilson will still get the night off, Maybe a brief appearance from DeMonte KZ, and the primary guys are Stephen Parker, Jaron Kearse, Israel Makawamu, and Tyler Coyle. I'm still waiting on one big play from the safety spot, and this week I think we finally get it. As for defensive stars, I'm going to go with Azul Kamara with a sack, and Tyler Coyle with an interception. I think the defense will hold Arizona under 20 points. Capping this off, I do think some players can separate themselves on the depth chart, if not at the very least widen the gap with a good performance. Backup quarterback still makes me nervous, but if we get improved line play, that can change my mind. Defensively, I want to see just how basic Dan Quinn is with his fronts and installing the new defense, but more importantly, installing his new identity. As far as the score, I'm going to say Dallas 23, Cardinals 17. But so long as they're healthy, that's the only W that matters. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Again, if you like this video, hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this one, hit that sub button. As always, Cowboys up. Peace.